Hello everybody and welcome to today's Chrissy B Show. With the new year fast approaching, this means new obstacles, challenges, opportunities, but most importantly, the want and need to try something different. So on today's show, we're going to help motivate people to achieve their goals and dreams career-wise. So let's tell you what's coming up today. I'll be speaking to our resident psychologist, Dr Audrey Tang, about why some people require more motivation than others and what actually stops people from pursuing goals and dreams. We'll also be speaking with our coach, Chris Browne, on how you can put the spark back into loving the job or career you're currently in and why it's so important to see things in a new light going into the new year. Also joining us is our real-life story guest, Danielle Shine, a young woman who decided to abandon a life of comfort and security in the corporate world to pursue her passion of becoming a chef. And we have our business expert, Jonathan Pfahl, who'll be discussing the practical ways of motivating yourself in your new business. Plus, later on in the show, I'll be sharing with you some of my top tips on how to overcome the fear of starting a new adventure and taking a risk in life, because sometimes it's what we truly need. But first, it's over to Excel with the news. Hello Excel and welcome to the programme.
Hello Chrissy, good to be back.
So new careers, new businesses starting soon, for a lot of people for the new year.
Yes, absolutely. And I think I was looking at a few things that, because I found a website that sort of gave what people could potentially tap into, especially when you find that there is a sort of like a need in the market or a need for this service. And it was quite interesting when I found a number of different things. And I think something quite interesting, I think there was a breakdown of the top 3 potential businesses that would be kind of more, if you like, picked up on for 2016. And one of them is actually owning a food truck. And it says it's included for good reason, because a study showed that revenue from food truck industry would reach, this was research carried out by in the States, would reach $2.7 billion by 2017. Wow. So it's actually seen as a worthy investment, because it's seen as a much less expensive investment than actually having a bricks and mortar restaurant. And according to the research as well, the failure rate for food trucks is 10 to 20%, as opposed to 60 to 90% for restaurants. Wow. So get the right
Just
equipment.
giving loads more people this idea now.
Well, absolutely. So go out there, get a food truck in, and then when I come round to buy something, you can say I inspired you. But anyway, but it says with the right equipment and with great recipes, you can just, you can keep going, you can keep moving from place to place. So which is brilliant. And the other thing was providing kid-friendly applications as well on phones, kid-friendly apps. Talks about the fact that kids are our future customers, so we need to start planning to gain their loyalty in effect. And it says that connectivity of kids is a big trend, which was highlighted in 2015. And apparently 3/4 of children have access to a mobile device. And so this would provide a big business opportunity for anyone who can create a product or design apps just for kids. And obviously some parents now, not that it's advised that much, but some kid just put a tablet in front of their kid and get them to play away sort of thing. But not all of the apps or the things that they have access to is actually educational or productive or positive. So providing things that they can learn from and know how to do things and learn from that, that's a big market. The other thing is freelancing. It talks about companies are increasingly using freelance workers to fill the skill gaps of their permanent staff. And it says it's not hard to imagine that you could build a whole company around providing freelance. So when you have particular skills, like if you have, it talks about data entry, academic writing, Excel projects, not me, data processing, web search, and Facebook-based jobs. And so freelance gigs actually pay by the hour as well. Right, yeah. So you sort of like it meets the need at the time, and then you can go on to something else. So it actually gives you more experience of different workplaces as well. So that's something cool to look into. Okay. I think it's seen as also potentially sort of risky as well. But I think if you're the kind of person who's up for a challenge and you can be versatile, it's up for it's up for everyone's
it's good for people that get bored very easily in one place.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it gives you that variation. Something else as well I picked up was recycling pickup. Apparently, most homeowners have pickup bins for obviously the standard recyclables. But some things like electronics and batteries and all these sort of things where you have to go to a center somewhere in town of your local authority, etc., that can be, you know, problematic, and they are harmful to the environment as well. So you can't just dump them anywhere. So it says offering to pick up people's e-waste, so old TVs, laptops, batteries, and all that, old mobile phones, and actually taking them to the local facility. We can actually charge people for that, you know, so basically come and collect all their e-junk for free. Yeah. Well, for a charge, not for free, for a fee. I missed the R there. I gave the R away. And it says you can charge per item or per weight or a flat fee to travel to and from the location.
Oh, very good idea.
So that's a cool thing. And for those who like speaking plenty of languages, who are quite versatile in different languages, translation services as well is another thing, where it talks about the fact that, you know, obviously businesses are no longer just restricted to the country of origin. You get to, you know, China, Mexico, wherever. So you kind of want to be able to provide services in the language. So you don't want to sort of say, well, I'm a UK-based company, I only speak English. You obviously alienate that country's language. So it's actually quite good, it's, you know, with all of this cross communication and cross, you know, office working and all of that reaching globally, is creating a growing need for translators. And again, the hiring of interpreters and translators is projected to grow by 46% by 2022. And it says it's much faster than the average for all occupations.
There you go. Excel's giving us some wonderful ideas for our viewers. Thank you so much, Excel.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Right, guys, now to tell us more about the mental health challenges people have in motivating themselves to achieve their goals, here's Dr. Audrey Tang.
A lot of the time, we tend to need motivation, not just to follow our dreams, but actually to stick to them. A lot of us, because they're a dream or they're a goal, we have got the drive to start pursuing it. But often, things get in the way of pursuing that goal. It might be we run out of finances, or we come to a dead end, somebody just shuts the door on us. And so what we need is the ability to pick ourselves up and carry on. That's one of the biggest things. The other thing that we need is to remember that we are habitual creatures. And if you look at Fisher's change model, he talks an awful lot about the different psychological stages we go through as we go through a change. Think about when we change our hair colour, we might need to change what we wear, we might need to change our makeup. If we're not willing to change completely when we are following a goal or changing direction in a career, it's actually very difficult to stick at it, because change hasn't happened as a whole then. It's only been that one little change that we've made. And in order to follow our dream and really establish ourselves in a career that we haven't had before, we do need to make bigger changes that affect us as a complete personality. We need to look at people not in isolation, but in amongst a social network of people. So it might well be somebody is on the path to achieving their dream, but suddenly they meet someone, fall in love, and either want to travel the world or have children, both of which great choices, but it does suddenly mean that you aren't able to pursue whatever it was you were doing. If you have a child, you're not able to stay late, you're not able to live too far away and have a commute. So sometimes it's more about looking at what is realistic based on the lifestyle that we've chosen. Sometimes you actually have to remove yourself from the situation, because we can become very conditioned to thinking in one way if we're always in the same environment. So the first thing is you may need to remove yourself from that situation. If your friends and family believe you can't do something, you might need to actually move physically in order to be able to achieve it. The second thing is you may want to visualize your goals. And one way of doing it is actually by visual representation. I don't necessarily mean visualization, because that research shows that's not enough on its own. But a visual representation roadmap would look something like, you know, you're here at the moment, and your goal may be to have a career where you want to be self-employed. Okay, but in order to get there, there will be obstacles. And if you can actually put those obstacles in and identify them, name them, so it might well be, you know, family pressures, it might be money, and so on. If you can see that, visually, you are able then to deal with it. So sometimes it's about seeing what it is you have to deal with and moving on. And then the last thing is you need to be able to know that that goal is for you, because if you want to do it for somebody else, or you want to do it for a partner for a different reason, then actually you're not as likely to stick to it. This is where mantras and visualizations can work. I know I've said it's good to have a visual representation, but if it works for you to say to yourself, I'm going to overcome my obstacles, and you say that to yourself every day, it might make you do that. Richard Wiseman has done some research on this, and he found if people said to themselves, I'm a lucky person and today is going to be a lucky day, what they tended to do was notice all the lucky things that happen to them. So similarly, if we prime ourselves to think we can overcome obstacles, then we may actually notice every time we've overcome something, and in turn see life and see our goals a little bit more positively. I've identified 4 things that they have mentally. Adaptability, the ability to adapt to all changes, and that means a whole overall adaptation. It's not just a case of working from 9 to 5, moving to a night job, which suits their career, but the ability to understand that their friends aren't going to be working 9 to 5. So they have to change perhaps the people they hang around with and what they do during that time. So it's ability to adapt as a whole. The next thing is creativity. If one door closes, they know how to open another door. If you don't have that creativity and the ability to think laterally, you're more likely to give up. Third thing is, of course, self-belief. With all the doors slamming in your face, you need to believe in your idea, your product, your business enough so that you can keep going, even though other people are saying, oh, don't do it. But similarly, always have an exit strategy. Don't have this open-ended. Do it for, say, a year, and if it isn't working, then maybe you do need to reassess, adapt, be creative, and change it a little bit so it does work. And the last psychological thing is having a sense of self, not comparing your journey to somebody else's. That's one of the most important things. As herd creatures, we do tend to compare ourselves to those around us, and we do have to have a sense of individuality. The last one isn't so much psychological, it is practical. Often people fail because they don't have a second income. A lot of the time with a new business, it's not going to turn a profit every month. Therefore, having the ability to organise yourself practically and have something like a second stream of income, or be able to still stick with your old job whilst you're finding your new job, is just as important.
Up next, we have our resident coach, Chris Browne, joining us to help all of you out there who are struggling to motivate yourselves in your current job, and also talking about why it's important to go back to work this new year, seeing things in a new light. And later on in the show, I'll be sharing with you some of my top tips on how to overcome the fear of starting a new adventure and taking a risk in life. Only here on the UK's only positive mental health show, The Chrissy B Show. Hi, I'm Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show, and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. We're back here at the Chrissy B Show, where we are covering the topic of motivating yourself to pursue any career goals that you might not have had the chance to do this year but are seeking a change in 2016. Let's welcome on Coach Chris Browne, and Chris is going to be basically helping the viewers to ignite that passion for their current job, actually, Chris. Hello, Chris. How are
Hi,
you?
Chrissy. How are we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Enjoying the job?
Yes.
At this present moment?
Yes, I am, very
That's
much so.
igniting. Right. We're talking about, you're saying about igniting a flame right now, the job that they're actually in. And there comes some point where we do actually feel a bit bored, wondering what we're doing in this job and where we're going, that sort of area. So let's get to the point of it. First one, do you need to motivate yourself in that and get back on track, is to find out what you really want. Because you might be doing the job, but it's got to have an end vision at the end and know why you're doing it. Because if you don't, you are going to get pretty mundane. You're going to think, oh, I'm just doing the same routine, same all the time, nothing's happening, same position. So you've got to work out what you really want out of this. Once you actually know what you want, here's the other thing, because sometimes we go off track. All right, so all of a sudden I've decided I know what I want, but I don't know how to bring this out in the job, right? So you've got to start plotting your game along the way. Right? So you started plotting the game along the way, but at the same time, we know what you want. So let's take another step with that. I'm going to go back on them, is to find out an incentive that you'll actually enjoy inside that job. You know, it's really funny. I was watching the other day this program where they were training these dogs, not associating people with dogs, but we're talking about our minds, right? And you've noticed anybody watch any show where you see the dogs doing tricks and all that. The dog will always be walking outside and looking at a person's hand. Right?
Yeah.
So the dog is saying, well, look, if the person says, go like that, dog rolls over, but the dog's still looking at the hand. Why? Because there's an incentive in there.
Yeah.
And it's, I'll feed you after you do the right trick. We, on the other hand, are very much similar in a different way, right? If we know there's an incentive that we plot along the way that will keep us motivated, and every time we reward ourselves at the end, we carry through. That is the motivation. Have an incentive, knowing why you're doing it, what you want to do, and plotting the game.
And sometimes there is actually an incentive there all along, but people sometimes they let maybe the focus go off that and they start focusing on other things. Because, for example, when things are difficult at work, say maybe there's issues with work colleagues, or the workload is quite a lot and it's difficult to manage, it's kind of hard to stay focused on that incentive or that goal that you have when so much is going on. But the trick is, you know, this is just for a time, we'll get past this, I'll get help for this, let me keep focused on the end goal, on the incentive.
Well, that's very much so. And to say that, there are 3 pointers there. One is establishing what the goal is. The other one, which you just mentioned, is being able to stay focused. One on top of that, being able to maintain the direction you're going in, right? You can keep those 3 together. That should keep you going. You will not fall off track. You may have to do a job, so I have to move this from there. There's a purpose behind it. Once there's a purpose, we will carry it through. I believe with everything you do, there's going to come a mundane time, right?
This is the thing.
Everything you do, there's going to be a mundane time, but you've got to override that in your mind and knowing why. If there's a why behind everything, that will keep you motivated, give you an incentive to go through. You know, at this time, I mean, we can turn around and say, well, if somebody's in work, you can say, well, I'm grateful to be in work because I'm not one of those who's not. But that's not the reality of it. Because we could say, well, my goal is about money. Money's not going to make you happy at the end of the day. It's what you're using it for and what you're about that's going to make you happy. So it's the same with a job. I pay the bills, but at the end of the day, is that the full picture of it? No, there's a reason behind it. But maybe you might have chosen the wrong career. That's another thing as well. You know, you might be not using your full potential of what you know, your capability of actually doing is not being really used. So you've got this thing inside of you bursting to get out, but you're still doing this thing that you have to do.
And actually it's very important to distinguish between the two, because there's a case where actually you are doing the right thing and this is where your skills are and you can really do well and even go on to start your own business in that kind of field. And then there's the other case where you are in the wrong thing, you're more, I don't know, maybe more creative or something like that, and you're not going in that kind of, that where you are now is not giving you the opportunity to use that creative side. So I think we need to really be clear on where you are right now. So if you're maybe thinking of making a decision about the new year and going for something else, have a good think first, sit down and see, is it just that you're in the right thing and then you're just getting a bit bored with things? Because again, we have to kind of be mature about things and think, well, I'm not going to like every single aspect of what I'm doing. There's things that I don't enjoy doing with this show, but I do it because it needs to be done. There's other things that I enjoy more. And that goes with anything. So you have to really be careful, because again, you could get into that cycle where you are just jumping from job to job to job just because you're a bit bored, but also you could be jumping because you don't actually know really what you want to do as well.
And you've got to work out what is right for you in that sense as well. I mean, we're going into 2016, right? And some of us at this time, we do a reflection. How far have I come so far at this time? That's where the motivation comes. Every time it's like, well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to go and do this now and do that. At the end of the day, you pick a very good point. You've got to really go back and see a reality, put it down on paper, work out what you're doing right now, Is it serving you or are you serving it? Because that's a big point as well. Then you've got to work out, well, if it's serving me, I've got to take this to another level.
Yeah.
I've got to be more creative in my job. I've got to devise more things. I've got to realize that my job is a cog in the whole big picture at the end of the day. It's not just about, well, I just do this job and that's what I do, that's what I do. You've got to understand the bigger picture as well, that your part is very vital. So you can actually recreate your part in a more efficient way that will actually help that company move forward as well. Now, if that's not the area, go back, pen and paper, work out goals. What do you really want to do? What am I good at? What should I be doing?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah. And that's the thing that people do get afraid, don't they? Because it's like it's a risk at the end of the day. It's a risk, and actually the person that we're going to speak to after the break, she took a big risk. Like she was in the corporate world, and then she changed and did something completely different. But from what I've heard, she's extremely happy in what she's doing now. She feels very motivated. So you kind of also have to weigh things up. If you really don't like what you're doing now, and you know you've had a good think, and it's not because you're bored or because things are difficult right now, then you should consider doing something completely new. What's your passion? What do you wake up thinking about and looking forward to?
That's it.
And that could be that's something that you do every day. That could be your job. That could be your career. And imagine waking up and loving what you do every day. And that is so important for someone's mental health.
Definitely.
You know, as we are a mental health program, we do need to say this, because if you're dreading going into work every day and not enjoying what you're doing, and work is where you spend, I would say, most of your life for some people, and with those work colleagues, if you don't enjoy that, then it's depressing. You feel really badly about yourself.
Well, Chrissy, you just said that, and it's very important as well, because the amount of time that's taken off work that's added up throughout the year with many companies is actually because of that, the mental depression behind it, of not being able to express yourself in the work that you should be doing. You know, and good point is sometimes it just happens for a short period. Don't think that's the worst time in your life. It's not. You know, because go for that short period, hey, that job might be really okay at the end of the day. Sometimes it's things going on in your own life. You know, somebody gets up a certain way, comes into work, they're not feeling good, react, then it causes a reaction with everybody else, and there's something going on in their life which they've taken into work, and it's affecting everything else. Take that period out. Recognise what's going on, because it might not be that at all. Maybe it's not that mundane.
That's why we've all got to think really, really
think first,
well.
then act.
Chris, thank you so much, and we'll see you again
Pleasure,
next
Chrissy.
time. Thank you. All right, guys, before we go to break, let's watch this video from the NHS with real people telling you how you can get the most out of your working life and why work can actually be good for you.
Work can give you an amazing sense of self-esteem, an amazing sense of worth. It can stretch you in all sorts of directions you didn't know that you could be stretched. And satisfaction in work comes in lots of different ways, not just the money you earn, but the tasks you achieve.
I like being at work, yes. It's a job that I enjoy.
I love when I've done someone's hair and they walk out and they're really, really pleased with it.
It's fun. I get to meet people, I get to help people, and I get to engage in their lives.
Before I got to this job, I was DJing a lot at home, and to have a job that you like doing, it's like it motivates you to come into work more, and like to teach other people makes you feel better.
I used to get very stressed in this job, but then I learned to shut it off. After I had the heart attack, I realised that I need to do something about my health.
Well, the most common problems people have at work are really bound up with stress. People find they're not managing their time, they're not managing their relationships with their colleagues, and they just are not getting the satisfaction and the joy out of work that they used to. If you find yourself getting very stressed in a very stressful environment, there are several ways you can take the pressure off yourself. You might find just shaking tension out of your body helps you feel relaxed. If it's someone banging away in your ear that's really winding you up, shut it off a little bit and just take a moment to think about myself. I can be calm. This isn't about me. This is about them.
If I get stressed at work, more than likely I'll probably talk to my colleague, have a moan. Tend to feel a bit better after that.
Usually I go and make a cup of tea or have a bottle of water or something, and then usually just try have some me time to calm myself down.
Well, I definitely think that everybody should work, because mentally it doesn't do anything for your sanity. It really doesn't.
People who are unemployed and are not working generally have more health problems, whether that's physical health or mental health problems. So being in work is actually good for you.
If you feel that you've got nothing to get up for, the day just stretches and you think, I'll stay a little bit longer in bed or something, that's your life gone.
You might not find the ideal job, first of all, but it's a step.
If you are feeling demotivated, if you are feeling tired and you're feeling it's all too much effort to go into work in the morning, have a look first of all at your physical well-being. Are you eating properly? Are you drinking enough water?
I usually drink water because I'm quite a very healthy person. I thought I'd just share that.
I think it's about 2 litres, yeah. I mean, I was on that bag one time, you know. One time I said something, I'm going to drink water because I realised that water is so good.
If you want to have a healthy day at work, have a look at the environment you're in. Make sure you've got the right chair. If you're driving, adjust it to your position, not somebody else's. Use wrist rests if they're there, if you're using a computer. Try and walk as much as you can. If you've got stairs, walk up them. Really good thing to do is try one of those pedometers clipped to your waist and see how far you're walking. In theory, we should aim for 10,000 steps a day.
I do feet up and down all day when I'm stopped. You need to do these kind of things when you're a driver in a big city.
I walk about a lot. I don't like to sit down at the desk too long. I'm not one of these couch potatoes in the chair on the internet all day long, like, oh, I'll get up and have a walk around, up and down, see how everybody's doing. You know, I just don't sit there on the phone. You know, I have to move about.
Make sure you're doing things outside work that you enjoy, if that's sport or going out with the family or going out with your friends. So you're building yourself up away from the work environment.
Well, it de-stresses me from work, if I'm honest, and it's quite a nice family thing to do, so we can do it together. So I will run while the children cycle, or try and keep up with them anyway.
But I walk to the station, I get off one stop early. It gets me in the right frame of mind to start a day of boring data management.
So after this quick break, we'll be meeting Danielle Shine, a woman who decided to abandon a life of comfort and security in the corporate world to pursue the passion of becoming a chef. And also we'll be watching a video with our business expert, Jonathan Pfahl, who'll be telling us, the practical ways of motivating yourself in your new business. And later on, I'll be sharing with you a few tips on overcoming the fear of taking a risk. We'll be right back here on the Chrissy B Show. Hi, I'm Chrissy B and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back, and if you've just joined us, today's show is all about achieving your goals and creating new opportunities for the new year. And we definitely couldn't do a business show without having our resident business expert, Jonathan Pfahl, on. But before we hear from Jonathan, let's meet our real-life story guest, Danielle Shine. Hello, Danielle.
Hello, Chrissy.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Now, I know you're happy now because you're doing what you absolutely love.
Yes.
So can you tell us what your dreams and goals were when you were a child, and have they varied quite a bit?
Yeah, well, they've changed quite a lot. I wanted to be a princess and that just didn't happen. But I actually never wanted to be what I am right now, which is a natural food chef. I was a little social butterfly, so I loved being at all the parties with all my friends and talking to people, and throughout my life so far, I've always gone for careers where I can talk. I love meeting new people, and so I ended up working in media and PR for a really long time, and I couldn't cook to save my life.
Really?
But it's something that's really, in the last few years, I've had a growing passion for nutrition and health. So, yeah, it's very different.
Tell us about the work that you were doing before, first of all. Were you working in media, you told me earlier?
Yes. So
how long were you doing that for?
I have been doing that for about 10 years, working in the media and PR industry. So
Did you enjoy it?
I thought I did. I thought I absolutely loved it, and I thought it would be the career that I would be in for the rest of my life. And it came as quite a shock about 3 years ago. So I was doing it and doing quite well, and I worked very, very hard, long hours. And I had 3 mobile phones.
Oh no!
For different things, and yeah, it was kind of crazy. But my health started to suffer about 3 years ago, and I didn't really know what was wrong. I worked very, very hard, and it took a little while to get to why.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's when you realised that you needed some kind of change.
Yeah. Well, I know it now that during that time it was stress that was literally eating away at me, and I thought that stress was good for me at that time, and that all the hard work that I put in was just normal. And that the feelings that I had on a Sunday afternoon to go back to work, it was normal to feel a bit, I've got to go to work, but I love my job. I love my job. But no, it turns out that I know now that the stress was not so great for me, and I'm now in a career where I absolutely feel happy, real happiness.
It's such a different career though, so how did you actually get into the cooking side of things?
Well, it was thanks, and it sounds crazy, but it's thanks to the demise of my health 3 years ago and the stress eating away at me. So I was very thin, I became very, very exhausted. I couldn't get out of bed, dress myself. There was a real health problem there for a while. And it was a big question mark. Specialists and doctors thought that perhaps I had the beginnings of an autoimmune disease, and that sparked my interest in nutrition, health and well-being. I took up yoga because I couldn't physically go for walks or work out at the gym anymore. And it was through yoga that I actually learned to listen to myself and realised that the things that I was doing wasn't so great for me anymore.
Okay, so you started to change your eating habits, the way you're looking at things.
Yeah.
Tell us like your typical sort of type of things that you eat nowadays.
Oh my goodness, so different. Well, I never really thought about food when I worked. I would go without food. So I'd wake up and I would not eat breakfast, or I'd be so busy and I'd be running to a meeting, so I'd nix lunch. Wow. Now, food is a priority. Nutrition, health and well-being. I love food. I know, I love food. I could talk about food for hours, but now it's completely different. And whereas years ago I couldn't even boil an egg, now I know how to make a souffle, so I'm pretty proud of that.
Now, how did that, obviously you changed your eating habits, you got better physically, mentally as well. How did that sort of transition into becoming a chef?
Well,
that's quite also another big jump.
Yeah, it's a very big jump, and it really shocked quite a lot of my friends and family at the beginning when I said, "Look, I think I want to become a natural food chef." They were quite shocked. It was all to do with nutrition, really. I started studying yoga as well. I was practicing yoga. It was teaching me many things about myself, my body. So I became a yoga teacher. You learn about the human body, and I was starting to heal my body myself. I wanted to know more about how food could harm and heal the body. So I just devoured books on the subject and started to experiment in the kitchen, but wanted to know how to do more with food. So the next progression was to study.
Okay.
That's how it happened.
And you absolutely love it.
I love it. It is what I'm supposed to be doing. I've been put here on this earth to help people figure out health and nutrition through food. That's what I'm loving doing.
So tell us what you're actually doing now with the cooking.
Yeah,
and
well,
the chef.
I'm not working in a restaurant. It's not about that. It's actually I wanted to equip myself with the skills to learn what to do with food for myself versus my body and heal that, and that's coming along very well. And I also blog, so I share recipes on my website. And cooking videos, and I teach people how to cook with real food, real affordable food. So nothing that comes in packets that's too processed.
Tell us about that, because I'm also getting into it myself a lot now. I've really sort of cut back. I don't eat like sugar during the week, no chocolates, no cakes, anything. I do occasionally have one on a Saturday when I go out, but everything else I'm really changed the way I eat, and I don't eat any processed stuff anymore, and I do feel great. But if you just explain, can you just sort of give a few tips to our viewers, and maybe on a few nutrition tips about things they should avoid? I know this wasn't part of.
Oh no, I'm happy to.
But we've got a few minutes left. So
I'm happy to. So I'm a natural food chef, and basically I like to promote things that don't come in packets. So anything with, processed sugar, for instance. There's a lot of sugar in a lot of things, and it's called many different things. So just a tip is to always turn the packet over if you've got something, especially with parents with children. have a look at the ingredients list, and it's very easy to Google these days the different names that sugar and the different names that MSG comes under, because they're two ingredients that you want to avoid. And in terms of just using what we've got, what Mother Nature gave us. So there's so many great fruits and vegetables and the things you can do and make ice cream. I call it nice cream. And it's about just blending frozen bananas with some berries, and you can freeze that and make that ice cream instead of having the chemical-laden sugar, the things that aren't so great for our health.
I think this stuff actually tastes a lot better.
Oh, so much better. So much better.
Because you can just tell when something's natural.
Absolutely. Really and the body knows what to do with it. Yeah. So when we put natural things in, our body, it knows how to assimilate it, take the great things, let the other things go, clean us out in a really healthy way. But when we put things that are a bit foreign to the body, chemicals and things like that in processed foods, that's when sickness can occur, and health begins in the gut. Yeah. So, and it's our second brain, which is amazing because it helps control our emotions, which I'm sure you know all about.
I don't, just a question, because was there at any point where it was quite scary to make that transition, to leave the job that you were in and do something completely new? Because I know that's because we are approaching the new year, and I know many of our viewers are kind of thinking, I don't like what I'm doing, or it's stressing me out, it's making me sick, but I don't know, I've got the income coming in, I've got a good thing going for me, and they're kind of scared to take that step.
Absolutely.
How did you overcome that?
Well, this was the most confronting thing I've ever done, because for so many years I've done really well in my media job, and everyone knows me as that person. So my family, my friends, my husband. So for me to do a 180 and say, I think I'm going to become a chef now and go and play with some food and you know, I'm going to let go of the secure salary and all the things that I thought would make me happy, the materialistic things that you do check a box as you get older. I did anyway. But those things, it was very confronting to let go of and to take a massive leap. And I actually had to save. So I chipped away, and I was still at my old job, but chipping away, saving. And I knew that I wanted to go to New York City and study at the Natural Gourmet Institute, which is one of the best schools in the world for natural foods and learning in there. So I chipped away at it, and I had help. I asked for help. I asked my husband, my family, and I got so much support when I asked for their help. And that was the biggest thing for me, was the support and the love that they gave me. Yeah. So I wasn't alone, and they understood that I was passionate about this topic, and they could see that I would just light up. So thanks to them.
And it's not like that those 10 years were a waste, because actually media, you can apply that to what you're doing today.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
thanks to that, thanks to that, I know how to run my blog and do my cooking videos, and I'm working for various online magazines, and it's my contacts through there. So I'd like to think that I've transitioned, and nothing's a waste at all, I don't think.
Danielle, I think it's been an absolute pleasure
speaking to you. Thank you for having me,
and I'm sure that's motivated our viewers at home.
I hope so.
Thank you. All right, guys, so here is also some helpful advice for those of you who are looking to start a new business in the new year from our resident business expert, Jonathan Pfahl.
Well, I think New Year's resolutions are always a good thing to be focusing on, and of course, when it comes to business, absolutely. The start of a new year, January 1st, or usually January 2nd, after the head settles a bit after New Year's Eve, is a fantastic time to be starting a business. It's not, of course, it doesn't have to be, of course, that at the beginning of the year, but often. Statistically showing, yes, January is a time when a lot of new companies here in the UK start, and around the world too. I think the most important thing to start a successful business, or a business that will be successful, is to make sure that you are building something that people actually want. Too many startups launch, get the website, get the business cards, spend money on marketing, only then to find out actually there's a lot of competition in this space, and I'm finding it very, very difficult to get customers. So the first thing that people should do before they start spending that money on getting out there is to build something and test it first on who would be your ideal customers. Ask them, do you like this? This is what I'm putting together. I'm a young entrepreneur wanting to start my own company. I'd love 5 minutes of your time to show you what I'm looking to do, and ask them the questions. Do you like it? Would you pay for it? How much would you pay for it? And the most important question is, what am I missing? because it's your customers or your would-be customers who are the ones who are going to tell you where your point of difference is. Because in today's market, you've got to have a point of difference if you're going to start well. I think if you have started and it's not working out, you need to make sure firstly you're building something, as I said before, that people want. And if you know, absolutely know deep down that this is something that there is a market for, then absolutely give it all of your heart and soul to have the strength to keep going and get through those difficult early stages. If you feel that you have already started and it's not working out because potentially you haven't built something unique and it's not something that customers are looking for, then yes, I would suggest, reining it in and focusing on restarting, focusing on making the changes to the offer so that you can get that vigor back in your step and restart very strongly. I think if it's not working out, yes. If it's not working, if you're trying different ways to sell this product or service but the sales aren't coming in, then it absolutely is sensible to put it on hold, restructure what you're trying to do, and go and do it again in a way that the market is looking for. Well, I've always believed in mentoring in every business venture I've ever started and continue to grow. I mean, we're in our 8th year here at Rockstar. I am always seeking the advice and guidance of people who have already achieved what I want to achieve. Mentors. I think it's vital that businesses of all shapes and sizes should be seeking the guidance and support of other businesses, other business owners, successful entrepreneurs from their sector, because you can get so many fantastic insights from them to really help your business grow. So whether you're just starting or if you're like me and you're 8 years old, I continue to find the advice and support of people who I respect and have huge amount of admiration for what they have achieved, because what they can give you in terms of life experience, in terms of contacts, and also in terms of accountability will absolutely be a game changer for your business.
Thanks very much for that, Jonathan. Now, after this quick break, I'll be sharing with you some of my top tips on how to overcome the fear of starting a new adventure and taking a risk in life. So don't go away. Hi, I'm Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to today's program. Now, throughout the show, we've been discussing how to motivate people in jobs and careers and business for the new upcoming year, and also helping you to follow your dreams and achieve those goals that you might have been putting off. And if you've missed the beginning of this program, don't forget you can head over to our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show, in a few days' time, and this show will be there for you to watch in full. But now back to my tips for you tonight, where I want to talk about how to overcome the fear of starting a new adventure and taking a risk in life. Now, my first point is to pretend that you're confident. So sometimes we can be our own worst enemy. So you will always come across situations and new things that you're not used to, and the fear will be there. It's a human thing, it's a human reaction, it's something that it's inbuilt in us. Actually, it's been there for a reason from the beginning for us to kind of flee from certain things, from certain dangers. But it's there for a reason, but you shouldn't allow it to take over and take control of your life. So you kind of have to know how to put fear in its place and only have it when it's needed, for when you're in danger or something like that. So you need to tell yourself that you're confident, even if those butterflies are going on in your stomach. And just because you feel maybe nervous or that you feel afraid of doing something, it doesn't mean that's a wrong thing to do. It's just very natural. It's a natural emotion to feel. But I find, for example, whenever I'm a bit nervous about something, or whenever I'm faced with a situation that I'm not used to, that's out of my comfort zone, when I tackle that issue, when I tackle that fear that comes, the fear goes. because fear seems a lot worse than what it actually is. When you actually confront it, it's not that bad. That's normally what happens in my experience. The second point is avoid the wrong questions. Now, you need to avoid those kind of questions. For example, what if it goes wrong? What if it doesn't work? Well, you have to think, what if it does work? What if it doesn't go wrong? And what we fear actually rarely happens, and we just get ourselves all worked up for nothing. So instead of actually asking those kind of questions and really getting yourself down and demotivating yourself, I would say, let's go to my next point, which is instead to get excited. Now, whether that's a new business or applying for a new job, think of all the benefits that new venture will actually bring to you. So you're going to experience new challenges, probably a better income if it's to do with work. You'll gain new skills, you'll develop as a person. So something that might help you is to actually put together a board with photos of the things you're actually aiming for, and put it somewhere where you can see it daily. And whenever you feel a little bit apprehensive or doubtful, or when things get kind of tough, that will serve as a reminder of the reason why you're going for that certain thing in the first place. And also, you are getting out of your comfort zone. Life does actually get quite boring and tiring actually when you are doing the same thing day in, day out. You're not challenging yourself. So wake yourself up with a new challenge and just go for it. You can do it. Okay, so now, before I move on, here's a video of someone that we went to interview who started her own business, and she's explaining here why she loves what she does. I'm here with Michelle, who's the owner of this lovely Manor Grove Spa. And we're going to be finding out how she put this business together in the first place. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Hi, Chrissy. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm feeling relaxed already because this is a lovely, first of all, it's a lovely little village here. Yes. Very tranquil. And just being inside as well is very, very relaxing already.
Yeah.
So tell us how it all started for you here.
Well, we were previously in one of the other small villages, and we had outgrown that space basically. And my landlord called me one day. He said, Michelle, we have this beautiful building. Someone's gave me the notice on it. Come and look at it. And I just fell in love with it. So we moved lock, stock and barrel straight in here.
And in terms of having your own business in the first place, was that a scary move for you?
No, not really, not for me. No, I've always been business orientated. I don't think I could work for anybody else. I'm too stubborn. I don't like authority. So yeah, for me it's business, my own business every day.
What's the best thing about having your own business?
The freedom to make decisions and be creative. I absolutely love being creative, so I put the packages together. I put the treatments together, how it's done, the order it's done in, to make it as relaxing as possible. So I really love that part of, the business. Also dealing with customers, making sure they're happy, making sure, they keep coming back again. I just love the everyday challenges. It's, you have the freedom of your own life, really. You can pick and choose what you do each day to a certain extent.
Now, Michelle, earlier you mentioned that you're quite a creative person, so as well as having the spa, you've also brought out your own range of candles. Can you tell us about them?
Yes, I have indeed. We have 3 scents of the candles. We've got French rose, honey, and also the cocoa. So the candles are actually soya bean oil. They come in a hard form to start off with. You light it, it heats the oil up, and then you can either use that with a partner actually and dribble it on each other and massage it in, or you can use it by yourself, pour it into your hand and put it wherever you want to put it. You're left with a light scent, and it's deeply hydrating and moisturising to the skin. It's beautiful.
Well, we are reaching the end of today's program. So we've had lots of advice today on starting afresh, and I really do agree with what Danielle was saying earlier about, you know, starting something new. It was scary for her. It was a big step, but she's now doing something that she loves. And actually, something very interesting that she said earlier was that she thought she loved what she was doing. She really thought that that was it for her, that's what she would be doing for the rest of her life. And everyone thought so too. But then she started to notice the signs of things going wrong. And I think that's very important for all of us to think about, because we need to look out for the signs. You can't just sort of carry on through life, I would say, putting up with things. You realize something's not quite right anymore and you don't address it. You kind of sweep it under the carpet. Maybe you think, well, I've been doing things like this for years. I've been in this job for years. I've been in this relationship for years. I don't need to address it. It's fine. Everything's going okay. But one day, as in like in her case, it all came to a head when she got really sick. And, you know, that could have been something a lot more serious. Same within a relationship. You know, you can't just ignore things that are going on. There's things that you need to address. And sometimes it could mean, in case of a relationship, getting counselling for that relationship, or even parting ways if both parties aren't willing to work at it. So look out for the signs, what's going on. As I said, we are approaching a brand new year, and won't it be so good for all those kind of things that have been maybe going wrong this year for you. It's a chance to start fresh. It's a chance to start on a new foot and enter the new year already with your goals and your dreams, and this time actually really going for them and really achieving them. And actually we'll be doing a whole show about the top resolutions that there are and how to stick to them as well. So there'll be lots of great advice on that show for you. Well, on another note, if you have a story that you'd like to share or an experience that you've had, please do get in touch with us via the usual channels. And also, if maybe you want you'd like to see a topic covered on this program, maybe it's something that you're going through, or maybe it's a loved one. You see them going through something, you don't know how to help them, and you'd really like a show dedicated to that particular area, that particular subject, in order to help your loved one or yourself, do get in touch with us via the website, chrissybshow.tv. And you can also tweet us at Chrissy B Show, and also you can leave a comment, leave a message actually on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. And if you'd like to know more about me and how I got past all the mental health issues that I had in the past, you can visit my personal website, which is mylifeafterdepression.com. Remember, you don't have to put up with what life deals to you. You can change things around. The power is in your hands to do this, because no one else is going to do it for you. You can do it. I believe in you. See you again next time. Bye for now. Don't worry. I'll speak slowly. We're back here at the Chrissy B Show, where we are covering the topic of motivating yourself to pursue any career goals that you might have. No, that's not what we're doing. You might not have had the chance to do this yet. Sorry. Let's welcome on Coach Chris Browne to help those of us, not those of us. Mike's okay?